Hi Pisces, welcome to your April 2017 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here, and I was doing your video before. I was joking that I should call myself It's Raina Darling, like ASMR Darling, and have my own little catchphrase, but I can't take somebody else's. But anyway, on this snow day, for me at least, welcome, and I wanted to tell you a few things before I lay out the cards, mainly that there's going to be a Mercury retrograde in the month of April, starting on April 9th and going until May 3rd. And this is going to start at 4 degrees of Taurus, okay? So it's going to be in your third house of communications. So just like I was saying about that Venus retrograde, you may hear from people from your past, and it could be through the internet, and you also could reconnect with your siblings or aunts and uncles. Now you notice I don't say auntie, aunt, I say aunt. But yes, so that is something that could happen for you. And there's going to be a full moon in Libra on the 10th or the 11th-ish, depending on where you live, and this is going to be in your 8th house, and that's the house of intimacy. It's a full moon, so there could be some closure about an issue regarding other people's money, and namely that would be inheritances, or it could be like something shines a light on that. Now I just told you about possibly reconnecting with siblings. That could be connected. You know, that's what these transits are all about. So if you have some kind of situation happening with somebody's estate in your family, you may be connecting with one or more siblings or other family members, cousins, aunts and uncles, and dealing with the fallout or whatever you want to call it, some of the issues involved with that and going over that. So you're going to have a new moon in Taurus at the end of the month on April 26th. So there we go again with that third house. So new beginnings with communications, new beginnings with siblings. Maybe you have had a bit of a falling out and now you see eye to eye. Maybe this is kind of like a new thing for you guys where you are calling a truce, or you have kind of grown up a little bit with one another. And when I say grown up, you could be in your 40s for all I know. But maybe that sibling rivalry was very long lasting, and now you kind of understand each other better. And it could have to do with a new neighborhood that you live in or are exploring near to where you live, because it could indicate local areas. And for instance, I'm the kind of person, I don't have any plants in the third house, but I'm like very intimately connected with where I live in terms of like, I love to walk, I love to, you know, that's just how I roll. And like I say, I don't have any planets in the third house. So it always amazes me that people live in a certain place and they're always in their cars and they're not really even connected to their community. And I don't even belong to any civics organizations or anything. I just like being wherever I am. I like being there and being present and enjoying that place. And so you may come to do that yourself. And what else could it be? Well, I'll leave that there for now. And this is, as I say, this is I was going to say, this is a general reading. This isn't just for relationships, even though the first 3 cards almost made it seem that way. If you're interested in just a love reading, I do those every month, and I already posted those, so look on my channel. If you're subscribed, you should have already gotten it in your inbox, but if you have a lot of subscriptions, sometimes that can get lost in the shuffle, or you can forget about it. This reminds me of the Sagittarius reading I did not too long ago. And I was saying when I did that Sagittarius reading, where I got a lot of cards that are a little bit challenging, I said that when I first started doing readings, especially private readings, I was afraid because I was thinking, what if I pick a bunch of bad cards and then the reading is really a bummer for the person? And then it dawned on me that it really isn't about picking just all light and fluffy cards, because anything that you pick can be a call to action. It doesn't have to be some kind of a death sentence, So I totally see things in a different way, and I no longer am afraid. And it's just other people who get afraid. If you are someone who gets triggered, maybe I should have a trigger warning. And I'm saying that facetiously. I can't stand that term triggered. But if you are somebody who is very easily influenced, then maybe you could just turn it off. I said that during the Sagittarius one, and I still got crap from people. Well, one person in particular. But nobody's forcing you to watch it, and I'm sure that you could find something that's better. Pisces tends to be very impressionable. So, but I'm not going to put a negative spin on this at all, because some of this is in the past tense. Okay, so for instance, the overall theme is represented by the Nine of Swords. Well, the Nine of Swords, I don't really like the Morgan Greer version of the Nine of Swords, to be honest with you, because it reminds me of the Eight of Swords. I really look at the actual depiction on the card, even though I already know what everything stands for. And this, to me, reminds me of the Eight of Swords, where there's a sense of bondage, but it's kind of like self-inflicted due to, the person's own ignorance. And the Nine of Swords is really about anxiety. So in the Rider-Waite deck, it shows a woman who's has her head in her hands and she's sitting up in bed at night. And that's like the insomnia card, can't sleep, thinking too much, and things like that. I think the most important thing to take from the Nine of Swords is thinking too much, because that's what worry is if you boil it down. It's the swords relate to thought, and we have the number 9, which is an internal number. Like in the Major Arcana, it is the Hermit card, and then even you could say the Moon card adds up to 9, 1 plus 8. So it's an internalized thinking process where you're in your own head too much, so where you're not meditating, you're ruminating. And Pisces rules the 12th house, which deals with things that are deeply buried, psychological issues. And also it deals with that sense of, I was going to say deeply buried psychological issues, but also a sense of victimization. And that is something that Pisces, because it rules the 12th house, has to always fight against within themselves. It's an inside job, in other words. So it's not about the outside world conforming to what you want. You have to be brave enough to confront your fears. And one important thing to take from this also is that a lot of times people don't realize that they are, why am I so wanting to say the word triggered again? But let's just say, instead of the word triggered, that they are affected negatively, adversely impacted by other people, okay? And that is something that Pisces may not put two and two together about, that it's very important for you, even more than some other signs, that you are very wise about who you choose to spend time with. This could be a love relationship, this could be a friendship, because you are a channel, you are a psychic sponge, and you pick up other people's vibrations. You're an empath. So it's very important that you surround yourself with positive people. And so let me look at the past position. We have the Five of Cups, so there's a sense of a loss that you are feeling and mourning. And this could be both in your career sector or in your personal life, because it's a cups, it is connected to the emotional self. But the emotions can be generated by even losing a job, obviously. It's not just in the personal life that we feel that kind of upset, okay? So with that being said, I will say that perhaps in the near future, or as we speak, we have something that is very good, and this is a great opportunity. The Six of Cups, you may have noticed, if you've been watching my videos for the last several months, I've been picking this card left and right, and it's become like, you know, a private joke with me. And even in some of my private readings, I've been picking this card, because this card is a soulmate card, and I was trying to figure out, why am I picking this card? And even with looking at job situations, career situations, I feel like the Six of Cups is talking about honoring the thing that you've always wanted to do. So I don't just like put this reading as being something related to your personal life, although it does seem like that would be the overall theme. It can be a situation where you feel anxiety right now, either because you've lost a job, or you feel like, well, it would have to be that you lost a job, because the Five of Cups is definitely a loss. But perhaps, you know, it is possible that you were demoted and you still feel like it's possible that you could lose your job. You know, in other words, you work for some place and they're downsizing. Maybe they keep you, but you have like a less of a salary, you have a less hours if you work, you know, by the hour, and it triggers within you a sense of anxiety. The Six of Cups is saying that either that this is coming in for you, or that it's right here. Maybe you don't realize it, that you have this thing. It might have been an idea. You have a flame burning inside of you. I think most people do, unless they've given up on life, where they had a childhood dream to do something. And for whatever reason, they put it aside. Maybe they were discouraged from it, from parents or their teachers, society itself. And they always have wanted to do it. I think a lot of times with Pisces, it would be something artistic, just because you are naturally inclined that way. Your higher message, your spiritual message, is saying, go for it. This is a card of really going for it. And this could relate, even if you're watching in March, this could relate to the new moon in Aries. This is a fire energy. Aces are beginnings. So start something, generate something. And it doesn't have to be that you quit your job. It could be that you just start a hobby, something that maybe you already have a hobby, and you start trying to figure out a way to make money from it. And that can be really a wonderful thing. Oh, you know, it's funny. I just noticed that the sun is really pouring in here, and I love it like this. This is my favorite thing, because this is natural daylight. And with my particular camera, it really picks it up the best. in any other light, it's a little bit, it's not that you can't see, but it's just so wonderful. And then as soon as I said that, the light kind of dimmed. So yeah, you know, and in personal relationships, you could be meeting, or you already have in your life, this person who is your soulmate. So if you've had a sense of being rejected by somebody, you know, somebody broke up with you and it's, you know, making you feel very anxious, the person who is your true soulmate may be right there or coming in. And the important thing about this is not to cry over spilt milk, you know, because sometimes these things happen for a reason, to bring in something that's way better. And so it's saying, you know, go for the gusto, grab it. You know, the Ace of Wands is about going for this new thing and not looking back. You know, the Five of Cups is about, you know, regret and mourning and stuff like that. And it's like those kinds of behaviors and feelings are pretty worthless when you think about it, because they don't solve anything. You can't, just by feeling sorry for yourself, it's not going to change what happened. And sometimes you do have to suck it up, Buttercup, and get over it, you know, and realize, you know, look at those cards. It's like you get the Five of Cups, mourning and grief, the Nine of Swords, anxiety because of that rejection, and then the Six of Cups, your soulmate. That's how life works, is that it's like these bad things happen and then something really good comes in. What crosses you is the High Priestess card. This is about not trusting your gut, not trusting your spirit guides or your higher self. And sometimes with Pisces, this is you being overly rational and overcompensating for being totally into the woo side of things and not wanting to be, for some reason rejecting it. Usually if a Pisces person, I feel, is rejecting their psychic ability, their natural psychic ability, they may not realize this, but it was probably discouraged by other people in their life when they were very young. And so they just kind of learned to suppress it. And of course, that's not the answer. You know, the same thing applies for anything career-oriented. You know, like, what to do. The Ace of Wands is about going for something. And the High Priestess in the upright position knows the timing. You know, when is that time to launch? When is the time? I would say if you have an idea and you want to launch something, that during a Mercury retrograde, it may cause some sort of delay. But I don't want to discourage people from doing what they feel in their gut either. So I just wanted to remind you about, you know, the transits. But it's just important to honor your higher aim. And, you know, like the North Node, your soul's mission, not to just get lost in the world and just trying to fit into something that may not resonate with you and, you know, isn't who you really are. The advice, or what's coming in, is the Eight of Swords. It's funny. So I did get the Eight of Swords. As advice, I would say, is look at those areas of your life where you find yourself, you know, self-sabotaging and limiting yourself. What kind of limiting beliefs do you have? What do you believe about life? What do you believe about love? You know, do you believe that love, you know, is all about suffering, and that if you don't suffer, then you're really not in love? And so you always have relationships where you are not treated properly? Or on jobs, do you believe that you have to work really hard and you have to prove yourself to other people, because how are they going to know that you're a valuable employee? You know, I was thinking about that probably this morning. I think about it a lot, how I just never resonated with those kinds of beliefs. You know, I always, despised resumes, because I felt like it didn't feel energetically right to give people resumes, because in the first place, I would rather speak to somebody face to face and have it naturally come up, what I've done in the past. Because sometimes you do work that is not connected to what you are applying, what kind of job you're applying for currently. And yet they require you to kind of make a case for yourself, like, yes, I'm not like a complete piece of crap. And so here's proof of this on this piece of paper that I really do. Can you please give me a job? And kind of being a beggar. And that type of mentality doesn't sit well with me. And I didn't understand, why I felt like that. And I thought there was something wrong with me. And then now I realize in retrospect that I was destined to do for myself and work for myself. And I always thought, well, I don't have a bad attitude. I can take orders from other people, and I think that I could. But it's just that it's a whole game, and I just don't like to play those kind of games. If I have an interview with someone, I want them to really ask me questions where they're trying to get to know me, not gotcha questions, because I've had to deal with that nonsense too many times, where they ask you a question because they want to see if you're going to say a certain answer so they can trick you. So it's just like it's screwing with your mind in a lot of ways. And I don't accept that as being, how we have to live. We shouldn't have to live that way. And so some of these things, a lot of people are in that mental bondage of thinking that way. Oh yeah, my favorite is when they ask you, they say, what is your biggest weakness? And it's like, if you really answered it, I remember I answered it one time and I said, well, I'm not really that organized, and I really wish I could be. I didn't get the job. See, the thing is that then they say, oh, she's not organized. Oh, well, I'm not going to hire her. And then I decided a different tactic, and I said, well, I'm just too idealistic, and it really lets me down when other people don't live up to the kind of ideals that I hold, for humanity. And I just have to learn not to be like that. And the two recruiters kind of looked at each other like, oh yeah, see, she's playing that game where she's going to say something that's actually positive as her weakness. And so I've had so many experiences like that and still didn't get a job. And it's like the universe, it seems sometimes like it's working against you, and you're like, why is this not working? And then it's like you realize what you need to do. And it may be something that you've wanted to do for a long, long time. And you allowed other people to kind of laugh it off. And so this card is saying, go for it, go for your dreams. And the wands relate to just that excitement and that passion. This is about being imprisoned and with your own ideas, memes, these things that have nothing to do with the truth that other people have imposed upon you. And the outcome is the Temperance card. Well, that's an interesting ending to this reading. The Temperance connects with Sagittarius, even though I think it should be either Virgo, because Virgo has like a chastity or, like a purity, or possibly even Libra, because of balance, because this is about balance. But this is also a card of healing, but it is associated with Sagittarius. And as the outcome, it could mean that you are, you know, in your mind, you're starting to heal from a lot of the things. Maybe if it was a relationship that didn't work out, or ideas that you have held that have kept you trapped in some kind of mental prison, you can heal from that. And also, I think what's going to do that is by taking those first steps. Doesn't mean quitting your job now if you have something that you're unhappy with, but it can mean as soon as you start to research, that's a step, researching what you want to do, and doing a little bit each day and going towards your dreams, that will make you feel in a more hopeful and productive place. You know, worrying is not productive, suffice it to say. And keeping yourself back isn't productive. You know, telling yourself that you can't do this or that is not productive. This person is blindfolded for a reason. It's because they refuse to see the truth of their own life. And, or she does. And that's the thing also with the shadow side of Pisces. Every sign has a shadow side. So I don't want to, you know, get into another round of debate about the fact that I'm supposedly picking on Pisces. I'm not. If you listen to other, you know, videos I do for other signs, I do talk about that. And sometimes I focus on the shadow side because that's what needs to improve. You know, if you're doing something great, then I'm kind of wasting my time talking about and patting you on the back for that. I want to use my time for talking about self-improvement. And one thing with Pisces is lying to oneself and, you know, wearing those rose-colored glasses when you need to wear the glasses of reality. Rose-colored glasses, being optimistic is beautiful, but denying the truth of your life and constructing, you know, a fantasy version of life is where things get problematic. So that was all I'm talking about when I talk about Pisces. But anyway, as the Temperance card, it really points to healing and balance, and that's what will get you on the right track, Pisces. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great April, Pisces. Bye.